'cause I got you. I couldn't ask for anything better when we're together.
Okay, everyone, today is Saturday and we are having Puerto Rican enchiladas for dinner. You're probably thinking, what the heck is Puerto Rican enchiladas? You probably are familiar with Mexican enchiladas. They are the original people of enchiladas, but I'm sure every country, every culture has had their version of enchiladas. And of course, Puerto Ricans have their own. Now, this was not created by the Puerto Rican originals. This is a recipe that a sister of mine created. She created the idea, but through the years, I have completely changed it around and tweaked it. And then when my husband came along, he did his own tweaking as well. So when I do them, I do some of my idea and some of his idea, and it just comes out perfect. So with Mexicans, they use corn tortillas. They put different types of meat depending on what style meat they want. I've seen them with cut up potatoes. They put, of course, Mexican cheese, Mexican sour cream, cabbage. It's just a whole different style. And they use, a lot of times they'll use red salsa, which I don't have anything against red salsa. There are some red salsas that I like, but I prefer the green for the Puerto Rican enchiladas. So yeah, so Puerto Rican enchiladas are made with flour tortillas. It's made with hamburger meat. We've never done it with chicken or carne asada or any of that, or carnitas. It's always been with hamburger meat. We do cheese, which in my case, I either do Monterey Jack cheese or Kobe cheese, which is a mixture of cheddar and Monterey Jack. But if you want just straight up cheddar, you could do that. It's whatever cheese you and your family like. That's an personal choice. And in the inside, what I put in there is onions, chopped up onions and chopped up olives. So what has my husband changed on my version? I used to cook the meat, then separately I would chop up the onions, chop up the olives, and have them each in their separate dish and have the shredded cheese. Because the cheese that I use is this block cheese. Like I said, it could be your own personal cheese. I like the one that's mixed with Monterey Jack and cheddar, which ends up being Kobe. So I get this 2-pound block and I completely shred it, which is right here. I already got it shredded. And you know how they say there's Mexican Tupperware? Okay, I'm not Mexican, but I also used buckets of stuff like that come in butter, come in your potato salad, macaroni salad, anything that comes in like a bucket and has a top. We clean it out really good and reuse it for leftovers or any extra type of food that we have, and that becomes our Tupperware. So I'm not Mexican, but I do the same exact thing. So this was actually an Applebee's, what do you call it? Plastic to go type of thing. And we just wash it out and we use it. This works good for like when my husband takes lunch and we can't exactly find the regular Tupperware. He can put his lunch in there, as well as if my girls take any food home, they can take the food in these dishes and clean it and reuse it themselves or throw it away. And I don't have to worry about where's my Tupperware, where's my stuff. So it works for so many good reasons. So the cheese looks like this. I'm going to take the top off. There you go. So I shredded that block. I just left like a quarter of the block left for other foods that I might make. Like tomorrow I might make chili bowl, which I also do with hamburger meat. And then my onions, I use my chopper. This is my chopper right here. So my onions and my olives are right here. So like I said, I used to chop everything separately and have it in their own separate bowl. So my husband's like, why do that? Do your meat, and then once your meat is cooked and drained, then take your chopped onions and you could chop the onions and olives together. For step one. And then when your meat is cooked and drained, then you just add all of your chopped onions and olives already in the meat, so it's all mixed together. So you're not having this tortilla and then you have to put the meat and then grab from the olive bowl and then grab from the onion bowl. It's all together. The only thing you don't want to put in there is the cheese. You want that just to be on top and kind of melt as you leave it in the oven. And then, of course, when you have your whole layer done, then you're going to put your salsa, which is, I used to put the salsa. I do put the salsa in the meat. That's another thing that I add to the meat once it's cooked and drained. And then I save some for spreading it on top. So when the whole layer in the pan's done, I take the salsa, I spread the rest on the top. Then I sprinkle more cheese on the top. I put it in the oven for like 10 or 15 minutes on either 350 or 400 and let it melt. Because of course, everything else is already cooked. The tortilla's already been deep fried and drained. The meat's been cooked and drained. It has all the ingredients in it. So that's just just like toppings that you're going to put on the layer when the pan is done. So the tortillas that I use, like I said, we use flour tortillas. So I get these. It could be any brand. It's the Mission flour tortillas. I like the soft one, the soft talkable one. It says super soft. So that's the one I get. I tell my daughter to get 2 packages of those. I'm not going to use 2 package. I said 2 package because I thought she was getting the 10 count. So I'm only really just going to do 1 package. And this is the salsa that I use. They have this in red sauce. I do not like the red sauce. So this is La Parmas. It's the green chili enchilada sauce. It's the medium. As you can see there, I love the green. Mexicans, when they're there in enchilada, most of the time I've seen red sauce, but of course there might be people that don't like red sauce as well and use green, but I've always seen red. That's how the Mexican enchiladas look on that picture right there. That's a Mexican enchilada. My enchiladas will look different, of course, because like they use corn tortilla and I will use flour. Their meats are completely different. They either use carne asada, chicken, or carnitas. I only use hamburger meat. They don't really put olives that I know of. They might put onion and cilantro and tomatoes and stuff like that. I don't put that in there. So yeah, so I'm going to take you step by step. I think I've done a video on this before, but just in case I'm doing this, I got to check my meat. So let's get started. By the way, that is the meat. It is cooking. And so what I normally do is I take my spoon and I chop it up and turn it around. I don't put that much seasoning in it because of the cheese. The cheese is already really salty. So you got to be really light on your seasoning, which I like to put a lot of seasonings on my food. This is the only one that I don't. So I just sprinkle, go 1, 2 sprinkle on each side, so 2 sprinkles. And then I use this one, which is normally adobo, but you can also get this one. I got this one from Dollar Tree. It's Badilla Sazón Completa, which means complete seasoning. It has your garlic powder, your pepper, your everything in here. So that's all you need. And like I said, I spread it on one side, flip the meat over, spread on that side. Look, I wasn't paying attention to the camera. Then I put it in there, and that's it, because the cheese, like I said, is salty itself. So if you put too much seasoning, it'll be salty. So let me go over here and figure this meat out. So I like to chop into the meat, spread it about. I don't know if you can see that there. And then flip it over as it's cooking. I like to make the meat small chunks. I don't like these big chunks. So that's what I dig into to make it smaller. So it's more that you can put in the tortilla. So it has big chunks. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can put the camera up. So see, let me find a big chunk. So there's like a couple of big chunks there. So I like to dig into it to make it really small. So that's what I'm doing here. Let me turn the camera around. So I can use my dominant hand. I'm ambidextrous, so I can write and do everything with both my hands. But I like to use the one that I tend to dominate the most, which is my right. It just feels more comfortable. So once I get it in, all of it in small pieces, I kind of let it sit, let it cook, let it do its thing. So I'm going to give it a break right there. And then I'm going to open this green sauce. I'm going to put it in a saucepan and heat that up, have it ready to pour in the meat once I cook it and drain it. Everything else, like I said, onions, olives, and cheese are chopped and shredded, ready to go. And then I have this pan ready to put oil in it to deep fry my tortilla. And then you'll see me with the drainer and I'll drain the tortillas. Like I said, I used to dip the tortillas in salsa, but my husband said that to him made it feel like the tortilla was really soggy by the time we put it in the oven and everything. So I deleted that step, and so I'll just put the salsa in the meat to have that flavors in the meat. That's another reason why you don't want to season too much, because the salsa also has salt in it. And then I spread it on top. So let me continue doing this. I'm going to put the oil in here, heat this up, and get it going. So I'm going to pour this can into my saucepan. Just heat it up. It doesn't need to be cooked. It just needs to be heated up. So I'm going to do that. Stir it up a little bit. Get it going. Then I got my pan ready to put oil in it for my tortillas. So it's deep fried, so you have to put enough oil to deep fry them. So that's about how much oil I put in there. There's the salsa right there. The meat's coming along. So just like to stir the salsa. It's really nice and thick. It tastes really good. So the chopped onions, I haven't taken the blade out yet. Ooh, so I'm going to take the blade out. And then that way I could grab into it once the meat is cooked and drained, which is pretty soon here. Still got some chunks. So the meat is pretty done. I like to taste it, make sure it's not too salty.
I get to be the taster.
Yeah.
So,
You want to see my new cover?
Yeah, give me a second.
did you grab a piece?
No. Shit.
Are you asking if it's too salty or not?
Yeah, I think so. Still too hot.
Tastes good. I feel like I could have a tidbit bit more salt.
They could have used.
But then you also have this and the cheese,
Yeah.
so that might
That's
be good.
why I never make this too seasoned.
I think because I drink a soda, I can't taste it that well because I can taste just the Pepsi in my mouth.
I never.
But I
Make,
feel like it tastes good.
I never make the because the salt, the cheese, and this salsa is gonna really
I have a
outpour.
new iPad cover.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Oh. Does it taste good to you? Because I drink
Yeah.
a soda before I ate that.
What is that? So it has seasoning in it. But once the salsa's in there, so I'm going to drain it. Once the salsa's in there, we'll see how it tastes then. That will tell us the difference.
We're gonna go.
Okay.
Going back.
I'm trying to see. Where's my drainer?
If you want Pepsi, there's more in the fridge.
Okay. So I'm going to drain the meat. Put the salsa in. See where we are at that point. Making a little mess over here. So then I'll put it back. So you know what? Instead of this pot, I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in this pan because now that I don't need to really stir it around, this pan will be good enough. Everything's washed, but I have this habit. My mother taught me this. Even though your pots and pans and plates and cups and what have you are washed and put away, anytime you use them again, give them a rinse because of the dust and stuff. So I'm going to see if it can go in here. I'm just dropping everything. I don't know what is going on with me. So hopefully it'll fit nicely because that pot is so big. So, but I need to be able to stir it. So that's what it looks like there. So it might not be big enough. We'll play it by ear. So I'm probably going to use a smaller spoon, which I'll probably use this one instead of that big one. Oh, you know what? I didn't even turn the stove on to heat up my sauce. But, you know, I don't really have to have it heated up. I could heat it up together with the meat. I probably should have used that one for the meat, and then this one for the meat, this one right here for the meat, and that one for the dipping the tortilla in, because this has more space. I think I'm going to switch it over. Okay, so I switched everything. So this pan is going to be with the oil. It's going to be the one that we're going to dip the tortillas and deep fry them. This is my drainer ready to go for those tortillas. My meat is over here, still warm. I put it on 2. I'm going to put it on low. My salsa has boiled. It doesn't need to be boiled. It didn't even need to be cooked because it could cook together with the meat. But I went ahead and did it. So let's see if I can lower it here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to give it a good stir. And I'm only going to pour some of it in there. Just enough to soak the meat, because remember I want to use the rest for the topping of the enchilada. So let me turn this front off. Put it over here real quick. Then I'm going to use this spoon here. Let me grab this handle. I think I'm going to need more sauce to cover the meat a little bit. Yep. Just very little for the spread. Now, that I have to leave for the spread. So just enough, not to soak the meat, but to cover all of it and give it that flavor. So once it heats up in here together, then I'm going to give the meat a taste test again to see if it's made it feel a little bit more seasoned. Because you just have to be so careful with the seasoning because you have the salsa and you have the cheese. So, let's see what we can get here. Let's mix with the salsa. There we go. To me, it's perfect. Now you got to add cheese. So I wouldn't mess with it. It's perfect the way I did it. So, this was the oil that was in that pan. I took everything out of both pans, cleaned them both, restarted over. So now I'm going to pour the oil in this pan. Now you see the oil there. I'm going to start to heat it up because the meat is done. Now I just have to add these olives and onions that I have chopped up together in the meat. So you're going to see me do that. Position my camera. So I'm going to take my spoon. I'm going to add all of this in here. I could have kept some for the topping, but that's okay. There's enough sprinkles for the topping. I just want to make sure that all the meat has its onions and its olives. And then just a little bit of sprinkles, not much is left. So what you normally want to do, if you want to put more olives and onions on top of the enchilada, you can leave a little bit more. This, as I gather together, is going to sprinkle it fine. I could have left a little bit more, wish I would have, but I didn't. The important thing is that it's in the meat, because that's where you're going to savor it too. You don't even have to put it on top of the enchilada, really. All you have to put on top of the enchilada is the salsa and the cheese. This is just an added bonus. So even if I didn't leave as much as probably I would have, I'm good. I'm still good. Look at me. I keep throwing things across the room. I don't know what is with me, because I'm talking and not paying attention. So that's done. So now my tortillas are ready to be done. I'm going to move this over a little bit here. Wipe my mess. I like to work on clean spaces. I hate a messy area, but be careful because everything's hot. So if you're doing this, watch your arms, because I burnt myself in the sink a little while ago when I was washing the pot. So, yeah. So my spaces are clean, ready to do my thing. So I got my tortillas here. I don't even have my pan ready. I guess I should have had my pan ready. But I'm just going to focus on doing the tortillas, and then I'll figure out which pan I'm going to use. I don't want a big pan, and both pans are occupied. Let's see here. I can find it. Let me look for it. So I got the pan ready. It needed to be washed. We used it yesterday and we needed to let it soak. And I didn't think it was ready yet, but it was ready. So I cleaned it, ready to go. This is enough. So now I'm ready to do my tortillas. See if I can have you guys come down a little bit. So we just put a tortilla in there. It's kind of hot. Gotta watch these things. See if it'll work better with my spatula. So you just do it till the tortilla kind of has bubbles. Like it inflates. I don't know if you can see it inflating. See that bubble right there? That's when you know it's ready. So then you just take it with your spatula, drain it, and then lay it across there. Then you get your next tortilla. See how it just, let me see if you guys can see it better. There we go. So you can see the bubble. See the bubble there? There's going to be another one here soon. With just one bubble, it's time to flip it over. Then it just kind of bubbles on the other side. Tortillas are pretty much already cooked. I just like them heated. And in this case, we need them to be drained. So I kind of lean them over to the side, like one laid flat. But I like to lean them over because I'm going to do different layers. Ooh, that stove was still hot. So let me get you guys back in position. I'm going to lower this meat because it was on 2, which is fine. But I'm going to put it on low because I don't want the meat to get cold. It would be fine because you're going to put it in the oven, so it's also going to get heat there. So these are things that you can add or take away, change up, according to however it goes. You kind of go with the flow. You have your basics, but yet you can, add or take away some things. If you do a little bit more, a little bit less. That one really bubbled up. So it starts to deflate when you put it in your spatula. And then it'll deflate as it's getting cold over there. So I think I'm going to do 20. My goal is 20. I didn't even want to do that much, but it ended up working out that way. So that's okay, because my daughter could take some home if there's any extra. And then my husband will have dinner ready when he comes home. All he has to do is heat it in the microwave. Or, yeah, just pretty much heat it for like a minute in the microwave, and he's good. Because by the time he gets home, it will be, even though it's been in the oven, it'll just be warm. And he's like me, we like things hot. So, see, these are how the tortillas are coming along. They're layered. And then I'll lay on top of that so the grease is being drained. So we don't have a greasy tortilla there. See how it's deflating? And we let it deflate over here. And we continue on with our rest of our tortillas. So I'll be back when I've done all the tortillas and ready to do the next step. Okay, I was going to do 20, but I think the pan isn't going to fit 20. I'm pointing over there. The pan is now here. So I just went up to 15 to see how it goes. And then if I can have space for more, I will do more, or I'll do a separate little pan. So let's show you how we're doing. So the tortillas ended up like that. They're draining as we speak. There's the meat, the cheese. I'm going to open this, have it ready to spread. That up there. That's going to be at the end. So that's going to spread. The onions and olives, as you saw, are already in the meat. So I just have to put the tortilla down here, put the meat with the olives and the onions and then some cheese, wrap it up and do rolls like that until I can't fit anymore. And then I'll spread the salsa and some more cheese on top and put it in the oven. So let me see if you can see how I'm doing it. Let me try to get you closer to see what I'm doing. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so you can see what I'm doing. So I try to take from the bottom, but it's always hard sometimes. So there's your tortilla. You lay it flat. You take your meat and you put it in there just enough to like fill that whole middle section, not too much. Then you're going to put your cheese, because remember, the meat already has the chopped onions, chopped olives, and the salsa. So all you have to do is add the cheese, and you're good to go. I'm going to put a little bit more in here. I'm going to be very kind with the cheese. I get another tortilla. I'm going to turn this pan down off. So then you move it over as far as you can. Get some more meat here. Spread it nicely. Some cheese. I fold it in at the end, and then I fold it in side to side and roll it. So the only end that isn't folded is up here, but it's against the wall lining of the pan. So tortillas are hot. Please be careful. And they're not all the way drained, but that's okay. As I'm working on this, most of them will be drained. Got some cheese. Fold the end, then fold to the right, and again to the right into the tortillas rolled. They kind of look like burritos, but they are enchiladas. So, okay, so here we go again. Some meat. See how there's a chunk right there? There's some chunks that you don't end up getting, but you can always cut them up as you put them inside the tortilla. So fold to the right, to the left. It's very simple. Once you do it once or twice, you get the hang of it. You're like, okay. And then you learn what you can add more of or do less of or add or take away. Do your own little tweaks here and there. Like I said, you can add your own meat. If you're not a hamburger type of meat, you can do the carne asada, the carnitas, or the chicken. You know, you could even do fish. So, you know, spread your wings. Do your own spin on it. You know, you can make it to the liking. And you can add extra stuff. If you want to add tomato, you can add tomato here. Inside or on the top when you're done, or both. So, yeah, you can really make this your own. This just gives you an idea of what to do and what to use. And then you could take it from there. The pan is kind of sliding. I feel like I could squeeze one more in this corner. Let me see if I'm successful. So I'll tell you in a minute how much I got in that first layer. So fold up, fold to the right, and again to the right. Okay, I was able to squeeze it in. So I got 7 on this first track. So I'm going to try to do 7 here. Sometimes I do it sideways because the tortilla really doesn't fit as good as the first layer fitted. So see, there's some chunks that I have to split up here. Put some cheese. Fold up, fold to the right, again to the right. So see, I'm going to do it sideways because it would be squished if I did it the other way. So there is quite a few chunks. I thought I had gotten them all. But, I mean, if you like chunks, that's fine. I mean, it just makes your meat last longer if you don't have all these chunks. Because part of that chunk could have went in another one. If you know what I mean. So fold up, fold to the right, again to the right, squeeze it here. So maybe 15 was a good idea, even though I have a lot more meat. go. So do you see me folding up? So fold up. When I did it this way, of course, you saw me going this way, and this way. But because I'm laying them this way, now you're seeing me go fold up, to the right, and to the right. So, yeah. I didn't wake up this morning. God, there's a lot of chunks here. Planning to do this recipe, but I kind of was talking to my husband. I'm like, what do you want for dinner? You know, I did buy that hamburger meat. He's not a fan of spaghettis, which is another thing I do. I use hamburger meat for. He'll eat it if I make it because I make it good, but he's not a fan of it. It gives him a lot of heartburn. The other thing I make is chili bowl, but I've made that twice this past week. So I'm trying to get you to see me and the pan at the same time. So we've done that like 2 or 3 times this past week, I think. Yeah, 3 times. And so I'm not tired of it. I can always, my chili bowl is so good, but he's like, no, I won't eat that. He wasn't wanting enchiladas either. He's like, you know, and he didn't want hamburger helper because I was going to do hamburger. He said, no, out of all those, enchilada sounds the best. Let's just go there. So I'm like, okay, enchilada it is. And of course, my kids love enchiladas. My son, he does not eat a lot of Hispanic food. He's my little American food baby. Part of it is his autism. They're very picky eaters. They want specific food, and it's all about him and what he likes. And so we make sure he's happy. My daughter just took him to McDonald's. So this one I am going to turn around and fold there because I can't put it that way either or this way. So I had to fold both flaps at the end. So I don't know. I'll show you in this tortilla what I did. So I put the meat. The cheese. So I'm going to, you know how I just folded the bottom and then to the right, to the right. So I'm going to fold the bottom here to the right, but I'm going to fold this in as well to make it fit right here. So on this bottom one, I got 6, on here got 7. So total of 13, but I have a lot more meat. So I'm going to see what I can do. Maybe I need to make an extra pan, which is not my intention. Ooh, I almost cut myself with this blade. Lord. Okay, nope, can't be doing that today. And you don't want it really on top because the cheese melts. So I have to see. I think I'll make a separate plate and just do this. And maybe we'll eat from that other one. This is also good for leftovers. But the other one, I don't have a lot of salsa. So I have to see. Maybe I can just, I did a lot of meat. Maybe I can just save this meat actually for a chili bowl and then add some stuff to it tomorrow, or use this for spaghetti, even though I don't put olives and onions in my spaghetti. But who knows? Maybe I could use this meat for spaghettis. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. Look at me. I'm not even... Trust me, I woke up this morning, the first thing I do is wash my face, brush my teeth, brush my hair. And I had my pajamas on and I was doing the cleanup and doing the laundry. But then my daughter was going to take my husband, but he wasn't done in time. So I thought, no, I'll just take you, get it over with, and then I'll come back and cook and take a shower and stuff. Then I started doing this, and I didn't want to leave this halfway done. I don't want to be sweating once I was dressed. I don't want to be sweaty. So I said, no, let me just get dinner done. And that way when I shower and do my makeup, I'm feeling good. I could just sit down and eat. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pour the salsa. Let me stir it a little bit just to get it separated and smooth. And then you just pour it on top. You know what? Yeah. You could do like a measuring cup. It actually would be better if I put it in a measuring cup. Yeah, I'm going to put in this measuring cup. Do it from there. Because it has that spout that actually lets you spread it more evenly. So this is what I do. Just give a roll of salsa on each enchilada. Hope you guys can see me. Yeah. I don't try to put a lot because, again, remember my husband doesn't like them to be soggy. So I'll do a quick other spread going the opposite way. And then I can save this for the other pan, actually. So then I take, where is it at? What I can do is I take this brush, trust me, it's nice and clean, disinfected, and I spread. So it's just not all salsa on just one side. It's spread over the whole enchilada. So you can just go back and forth on that. Okay. Then I'm going to sprinkle some of this extra onion and olives that I had. Hope you guys can see me. So this is perfect. I didn't need any more than this. And you don't even have to add this on top because, like I said, you already have it in the meat and that's sufficient. But if you just want a little extra, you can just always, you know, put it on top. So everything is used up. Not wasting anything. Then I'll put my cheese on top. Then you put your foil. I should preheat the oven. Gotta take the stuff out of the oven. Got some pans. Oh, there's that meat. Oh, my husband had made some meat last night. It's so good, but I don't think there's much left. So I'm glad I did this. So now I'm going to spread the cheese. So we still have a lot of cheese left. So then you take your cheese and you sprinkle it. The more cheese, the merrier. But if you don't like too much cheese, then you can put the amount that would be perfect for you and your family. Or if you feel like the cheese that's in the enchilada is more than enough, then that's great. But if you are the type of person that likes that extra cheese, this is where you can put it right here. Is right on the enchiladas. So you can spread it about with your fingers, wherever places that you may have missed some. If you want it fully covered. Okay. Then we're going to put foil on top. Let me put it, I'm going to put it to 400 because I'm only going to leave it 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so let me let that preheat. I'm going to cover my cheese. Where is my top? Water it, so you want to rinse that out. Make sure nothing got in it. And then I'm going to show you when it comes out what it looks like. Cover your cheese so it doesn't spill. Okay. So we have some more salsa if I want to spread on another pan. Plus there's a lot more in this saucepan. I could get it out really good with this brush. Look at all of that. That's a lot. If you did it with a spoon or a spatula, you might not be able to get all of this goodness. So yeah. So I wash those. Got some extra salsa, which is great. Waiting for the oven to preheat. Get all this mess out of here. I'm cleaning as I go. I like clean spaces. So, and I still got 2 more tortillas. So I could do, I think this pan is going to be more than enough. Trust me. I think I'm going to save that meat for something else. I think I'm actually going to save it for some spaghetti. I'm going to let it cool off really good because you don't want to go from one extreme temperature to the next. Then once I do that, then I can even do Mexican tacos tomorrow or the next day at the most. Or I could add tomatoes and spaghetti sauce and make spaghettis with it. Stuff like that. A lot of things I could still do with that hamburger meat. But I don't think I'm going to make another pan. I think this is more than enough. I might do those 2 tortillas because I'm going to eat a burrito a burrito, an enchilada. Well, it's going to kind of be a burrito the way it's going to be in my hand. So once the oven is preheated, I'm going to put that in there. And then once it comes out, I'm going to put the timer for 10 to 15 minutes. I'll show you the result look, and then I'll do a taste test. So the oven is still preheating, but I was able to clean a lot of stuff, organize a lot of stuff. So I don't want to waste this tortilla. So I just made me like enchilada slash burrito, if you will. So I put the meat, the cheese. It's warm. It's not as hot as it could be, but it's okay. Tastes really, really good. I can't wait to eat the enchiladas. Remember, this is without the extra cheese, onions, olives, and salsa. But everything else is inside, so the meat is perfect. So glad that I didn't put... Oh, my Lord. Sorry, guys. Lord. So imagine with all that stuff. Extra. So hungry, I haven't eaten anything. Normally I eat some cereal or one of my smoothies. It's so good. I'm gonna let my daughter have the other tortilla in case she wants one before the enchiladas. That's what it looks like. So, so good. So, so good. Yep, it's still preheating. Look. See what it says pre? I always said one day it's going to be when I'm long gone, if the world still exists, where they're going to make it to where you can smell or taste through the camera. We'll all probably be long gone. But, so good. So once that's ready, I'll let you see. So it's ready, oven. I don't know if you saw how that looked. That's how it looks. Oh, nice and foil. Not the good kind. My husband normally gets the good kind. I don't know what happened here. So, going in the oven. I'm going to say 10 minutes. Start. I'll put it for another 5 if I feel the cheese isn't melted as good. So we'll see. So it's been 10 minutes. I'm going to see what we got. If it's melted enough, it'll be good enough. Let me just lift this up a little bit. Yeah, I think it's melted enough. Yep, it's melted enough. So we're going to put it up here, top of the stove. Oh, shit, we still have this up. Cancel. And I'll let you have a look. I think it's melted enough. So, let's see. Let me turn the camera around. There it goes. I think it's melted enough. That's what it looked like when it should be melted. I think it's melted enough. Sounds good. Now I can finally go take my shower and eat this when I get done.